This is the entire Halo armory. I'm pretty sure I got every single weapon, but if I left out some, let me know in the comments. I also left out all the Halo 5 Warzone variations and duplicate weapons, for example, so I only have one human magnum, whereas every game pretty much has a different magnum. So I just have the one in the top left corner because they all really fill the same role, and it would be redundant for the sake of this video to have multiple different magnums. The picture is pretty full, isn't it? It makes sense. You started with about 10 weapons in 2001 when Halo CE came out, and you added a few new ones every game, and so it filled up pretty quick after about double-digit amount of games. Halo's sandbox is often referred to as amazing and incredibly unique. Halo does have pretty amazing weapons, but I think its sandbox is pretty overrated. In this picture, it describes why it's so overrated, and that is redundancy. You have so many weapons crammed into the Halo sandbox that so many of them do the same thing. And now I understand that some of them were just added for fun, but they could have been different. Halo has a big sandbox and it shouldn't repeat weapons, and it does. And a lot of time it's for lore reasons, and I'm almost willing to give that a pass because they're important to the story. So weapons like the Spiker, I mean, it's pretty much just another automatic rifle, but it's for the brutes, and it was kind of important in Halo 3. But a lot of the times, it's just lazy game design, and you shouldn't accept this. I bet everyone listening to this video can think of some weapons that are in a particular game that you just never pick up, and they don't really make any difference to the story or the gameplay at all. As we remove weapons from this image that are redundant, the image starts to get a little bit more bare. And it's sad that it gets more bare, and I'm not saying Halo should have less weapons in total, I'm just saying it should have less redundant ones. A lot of the weapons in here are Promethean weapons, and they don't really fit in the games, but of course the Prometheans need weapons. I just think the creators of these weapons should have come up with something a little bit more creative to add as content to the games. So I'm going to be going through pretty much all the guns that I think are redundant, and I'm leaving some out just for time. These are just the main ones that really grind my gears. So let's begin with our first set of weapons.
Also, P.S. you should remember that Halo Infinite is a game that's coming out, and it's going to have new guns.
Starting off, here you have the main rifle of the Covenant army, feared by billions. Also, you have two Chinese knockoffs that shouldn't be in the Halo universe because they suck. The other two guns that aren't the plasma rifle here either just have worse damage, they have no unique features, they have the same exact fire mode, hell, they even shoot the same color of plasma. If you took the plasma repeater from Halo Reach and the storm rifle from Halo 4 and 5 and just replaced it with the plasma rifle entirely in Halo 4 and 5, the gameplay would remain pretty much the same. There's not really that much more to say about this. It's just a blue gun that shoots plasma, and you have 3 different versions of it, and the second two don't even look as cool, and there is a little bit of reasoning in the lore, but not enough. There isn't really a good reason to have the plasma repeater or the storm rifle in Halo. I get that they're different guns, but they're pretty much just lame versions of the plasma rifle. And my solution, just fucking destroy the plasma repeater and the storm rifle. These two plasma rifles that are getting destroyed should not be confused with the brute plasma rifle, which is the red one from Halo 2, and it belongs, it's cosmetically different, and it has gameplay and lore reasons. It overheats faster and does more damage, which makes sense. You play different with it, and you play different when it's shooting at you. Next up, we have a gun added with Halo 4, and that is the Assault Rifle 2.0. The UNSC lacked heavily in the LMG department. It never really had one, unless you count the turrets that are detachable. And so, with no LMG, the 343 company added the SAW, which is basically the assault rifle but with higher accuracy, higher damage, higher range, higher fire rate, and higher capacity. Now I know what you're thinking, that sounds like, well, it's a pretty different gun, but not really. When you are getting shot at or shooting with it, you don't really play different, and it's not really fun. It's basically just an assault rifle, but better in every way. The outcome of every engagement with it is the same as if it were an assault rifle. If you see an assault rifle and a saw laying on the ground, you would just pick up the saw because every time the saw is going to be better. There's nothing unique about it. There's nothing you have to play around. It's just an assault rifle, but better. Especially in Halo 4, where you don't have thrusting or the different Warzone variations, it plays essentially the same as an assault rifle. Appearance-wise, I think it could be a little bit grittier, but for the most part, I think they got the look of it right, just not how it plays. If it were up to me, I'd maybe make it a little bit heavier to give it more variation from the assault rifle, and maybe I'd make it made by Hannibal because they could always use more attention. I would love to see some more laser guns by them. Maybe it could even have some sort of cool gameplay feature that no other gun in Halo has. Next up on my warpath, I have the Promethean Weapons. In Halo 5, they don't really have a purpose, and they're pretty much all trash. They're the human weapons, except they shoot lasers. The light rifle is actually a little bit different in gameplay, but I looped it in because these criticisms still apply. And to be fair, the bolt shot and the suppressor have the added feature of being able to track Promethean weak spots, but when not fighting Prometheans, they are generic and boring. They don't have any unique features or handlings and don't play any different than the human weapons, except the suppressor, which has accelerator fire, but in Halo 4 it was just a lousy version of the SMG. The game wouldn't be any different without these Promethean weapons. The only difference would be the Prometheans really wouldn't have any guns. Continuing with the Promethean weapons, we have the Incineration Cannon. I hate the Incineration Cannon. The Incineration Cannon is not competitive. The Incineration Cannon is like a big rocket launcher, except it's impossible to dodge. I hate the Incineration Cannon. A rocket can be dodged. A sniper takes skill. A shotgun is only good up close. The Incineration Cannon is good everywhere. It takes no skill. Any scrub can beat a pro with one. It is the anyone rocket launcher. Fuck the Incineration Cannon. All my homies hate the Incineration Cannon. It is just a giant explosive weapon. 343 was in a meeting, and they took the rocket launcher, turned that shit up to 11, and then hit copy paste and threw down the Incineration Cannon. They called her good after that. That's good. I hate the Incineration Cannon. My verdict is, how we should deal with the Incineration Cannon is we should incinerate it. It shouldn't be in Halo. It shouldn't be in any game. And if you like the Incineration Cannon, then you should stop watching this video because I think less of you. Not just as a person, and not just as a Halo player, but as a bunch of atoms put together. I think less of each individual atom. Continuing on, I'm going to start going a little bit quicker because I think everyone's starting to get the idea. These weapons are repetitive and don't really make much sense, a lot of times from lore and from gameplay. So picking up the pace, we have the Concussion Rifle, which is really similar to the Covenant Brute Shot. It was added in Halo Reach, and it's similar to a grenade launcher, except this one is a plasma weapon instead. It makes some sense in the lore when you go over it. It's not for the brutes, but they still use it, and it's very similar. If they just added the brute shot back to the games where they have brutes, it would be the same and would not really make much of a difference. Changing gears back to a Promethean weapon, I wanted to go over the scatter shot really quickly, and on the surface, for anyone who hates Promethean weapons, it's an easy target because you could say, well, it's just a shotgun. But I would argue that this is the one weapon I'm going to go over that should stay. It has a unique feature, and it works different from a shotgun, and you play different from it than when you have a shotgun. And that is its bouncy projectiles. These alter the gun's actual gameplay and how you handle it, allowing for killing players from unique angles and around corners. It requires some skill, some knowledge, and it's actually pretty fun. The scatter shot should stay, and that's about the only Promethean weapon that should stay. Switching gears back to Covenant weapons, lore-wise, this next one makes pretty cool sense, and that is it's a hunter arm that you carry, but in the gameplay it's just a fuel rod, and you can't even change the firing mode to a laser. It's lame, and it should stay, but it should be changed. By this point in the video, it should be very clear that a ton of these weapons make a lot of sense in the lore, but they don't really add to the gameplay, and the baby shotgun is no exception. It is the Mauler from Halo 3, and it can be dual-wielded, and it has a little bit different damage, but it handles very similar to the shotgun. I think this is just another weapon that should be changed and should stay. Lastly, I'm not going to spend too much time on this gun. It's just another automatic weapon, and it's the Spiker. It doesn't even really have any gameplay difference, and the knives on the front don't really add any melee gameplay boost. In Halo 3, it's extremely similar to the assault rifle, and for lore, it makes sense, but gameplay, again, not so much. And that is about every Halo weapon in the entire sandbox that I think has no purpose. There's a few more that have minor issues that I could talk about, but those are all the main ones. Looking at the picture now, it has quite a few less weapons, and it's not perfect, but there's a lot less overlap. The biggest offender of poor weapon design on this list were the Promethean Weapons in Halo 5. If you agree or disagree with my list or have something to add, let me know down in the comments section. I recently started making videos again, so if you liked, please like, and if you want to see more stuff like this, please subscribe. And now just for fun, let's look at the weapons that are going to be included with Halo Infinite from the demo we've seen. I'm not going to include any of my dialogue, really. I'm going to let you make your own decisions. But while watching it, please remember everything I talked about in this video. Every weapon has a chance to alter gameplay and add to the lore. And speaking of lore, with Banished, they have so many opportunities for unique and interesting and beautifully gridded weapons. So just remember, when Master Chief is getting shot at by an elite who's using a 3-round burst plasma weapon, how differently as a player does he have to react versus if it was just a plasma rifle? And when he's using the commando gun, how differently does he play than if it was just an assault rifle? Just keep that in mind with every gun that he shoots and every gun that he gets shot at by. The gameplay should be changing. I'm not saying whether these weapons are good or bad, I just wanted to get people thinking critically about them. This was GDTaco, thank you for watching, and until next time, peace.